She will be here next week. Is it on? Okay. Humans have this insatiable need to be right. Why is that? And when we look at our history, this need to be right has been the catalyst for many conflicts in relationships. Personal, social, community, country, and world. The Course in Miracles says, do you prefer to be right or prefer to be happy? Have you grown enough in consciousness that we can open our minds and hearts to others' opinions and begin to accept that maybe we are not right? What if there is no right or wrong? That would be a concept that some of the Eastern religions like to say. Okay, we have, right? So first, as every week, I want to thank the Sayusla Indians who strive to protect our environment here and who protected this land for years and years and years before we ever got here. We give thanks to the tribe, past, present, and future, for doing everything and having even the presence here. We thank them. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. So as every morning, too, I ask you to rise if you are able and sing our opening hymn, number 123 in your hymn book, Spirit of Life. Music by Jeff. Well, thank you. Do you live here in Florence?
No.
We're staying here for now.
For several months. Yeah, my parents live here.
Okay. Well, great. Well, welcome. Welcome. So we have, yes. Oh.
Sorry.
Yes. She's got it behind you. All righty. Boy, we're on it today. Thank you. Okay. So as we continue, I ask everyone to place their phones on airplane mode because it interferes less with our signal. I don't know why that is, but it is true. Thank you. I invite Brooke up here to come forward and light the chalice. And these words by Eric Wilkstrom, entitled, Why We're Here. Here today in this place with these people, we may listen so that we may hear. We may hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and the world. May this chalice we light our way. So we have children today? Just one? Okay. And does she want to go through the...
Oh, if you're okay with it, I love it.
Oh yeah, for sure. So what we do now, we're fortunate to have a child with us this morning. And we release them to the youth volunteers. So I would ask you, either one on the aisle, this is what we do to kind of sing them out. You put your hands up in a little, yes, you're seeing that. And then we sing this song as you journey to the tune Frera Jacques.
You can hold me up.
Yes, I don't mind.
Journey as you journey, may you know, love and hope go with you, love and hope go with you, learn and grow, as you journey, may you know, love and hope go with you, love and hope go with you, learn and grow. We are so fortunate to have this kid energy in this church. It means it's a hell of a congregation. I got that from you. I invite Donna up here for joys and concerns. So we have an opening song. This is the second opening song. I invite you all to stand as you're able and sing our opening song, Bless of Me by Glenn Campbell. The words slightly adapted by Reverend Ruth Miller, and they'll be projected on the big screen. Is that true? He's back there in there now, and Jeff will guide us accordingly. Yes, it works. Oh, yes. And the unchoir is back there. Boy, there's quite a few of you today. The unchoir is back there to help us. Okay. Let me be a little winder, let me be a little winder to the faults of those around me. Let me praise a little more. Let me be when I am weary, just a little bit more cheery, like a little more of others and a little less of me. Let me be a little braver when temptation bids me waver. Let me strive a little harder to be all that I can be. Let me be a little meeker with somebody who is weaker. And a little more of others and a little less of me. Let me love when I am fearful, let me choose to be more true. Let me recognize my neighbor, as reflecting blesses me. Let me know that we are one now, living under the sun now. Think a little more of others and a little less of me. Think a little more of others and a little less of me. Thank you for being so patient with us. We will get it perfectly if there is perfection at some point. So please join me in our responsive reading, number 443, titled, We Arrive Out of Many Singular Rooms. We arrive out of many singular rooms, walking over the branching streets.
We come to be assured that brothers and sisters surround us to restore their images on our eyes.
We enlarge our voices in common speaking and singing.
We try again that solitude found in the midst of those who with us seek
eyes reclaim the remembered faces. Their voices stir the surrounding air.
Warmth of their hands assures us, and the gladness of our spoken names.
This is the reason of cities, of homes, of assemblies, and the houses of worship.
It is good to be with one another.
And so it is. Okay. Next, I want to welcome our beloved Reverend Donna Smith to share her message today entitled, Changing the Need to Be Right.
Good morning.
Morning.
Should I put this down maybe?
Oh, yes.
You see me now? Well, last month was my month off. I take this off too. And this 2 months seems like a year or more. It's been a long time. And I genuinely missed you all. So it's very good to be here today. We got to see some elk and some geese this morning. The drive was beautiful. I kind of expected some tomatoes to be thrown at me. Changing the need to be right. Well, anyway, do you know what the secret to happiness is? It's giving up the need to be right. Yeah. I am feeling a little resistance here, a little bit. But you know, humans have this insatiable need to be right, to be in control, you know, and to just keep things the way they've set them up. Change is scary because it means moving out of our comfort boxes, doesn't it? And however, as long as we remain in those comfort boxes, how do we grow? And how do we learn? It's just much harder to do that. And if we want to evolve, and that's who we are, evolving creatures, then we must move out of that comfort box. Otherwise we become stagnant. And you've seen stagnant pools. Yes, this is what happens to us spiritually. So what is interesting is that research has shown that many people would rather stay in an unhappy situation than to move to the unknown. Because at least they know what's going to happen. They're so afraid to move out of their comfort boxes. So our theme this month is change. And so I want us to look a little more closely at this need to be right. Both the Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery present this quote: do you prefer to be right or happy? Now, some would say, what a silly question. I want to be right and happy. Yes. And from Anthony Gold, he states, after all, clearly there is an objective truth, so I thought, and my being right was nothing more than an affirmation of such attunement. Consequently, my happiness should naturally flow from my righteousness. And then he adds, how naive I was. Yes. So why do we do that? Why do we hold on so tightly and strongly to our beliefs? If we didn't have our beliefs, how would we live? You know, it would seem that we would not know how to live if we did not have our concepts and our beliefs. Beliefs help us to find some kind of structure in our lives, and it can provide the basis for our evolution. But only when we're willing to change those beliefs when necessary. Because if we don't do that, again we become stagnant and we do not grow and learn. Here's the problem, is staying stuck in those beliefs. And as we look out in the world today, we're seeing a lot of that, aren't we? A lot of it. And a lot of humanity is afraid to change. And yet change is just been thrown in our faces right now, and it's been very painful. Another reason we hold on so deeply and so strongly to our beliefs is that we are emotionally attached long as there is a disagreement on a position and we care about the outcome, then we are fully engaged. At least our ego is. In addition to reflecting an emotional attachment, the need to be right also masks an underlying insecurity of control. The strong desire to impose our ideas and opinions on others barely disguises our need for validation. If you agree with me, then I'm going to feel better. However, this feeling of validation is fleeting, isn't it? Yes. And it does not address the underlying cause of this need to be validated. The Course in Miracles also reads, "Seek not outside yourself, for all your pain comes simply from a futile search for what you want, insisting where it must be found." What this means is that all of our pain comes from the belief that we can find happiness outside of ourselves. All the need to be right demonstrates the desire for this external validation, which is never ending. This quest for this validation is never ending as long as you are looking outside for it. Nobody needs to validate you but you. That's all that means. And from the Way of Mastery it reads, "Anytime you react to what you believe is outside of yourself, you may be absolutely positive of this. You have elected to pick up that old pebble that says, 'I'm a victim of the world I see.' What I experience is caused by forces outside of me. The fault really is in my mother, my brother, my father, my partner, my child. The fault really is in the government and the planet and the quality of the air. The fault really is from a source outside of me, and I have no choice but to react to it." To which I can only say, would you rather be right or happy? From the Way of Mastery. There's this quote from Rumi I have to share with you too. He said, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself." Yes. Many years ago I was sitting at my desk and I was writing a sermon on listening and allowing. And my neighbor stopped by because she was having a problem and she wanted to talk to me. And so as I was sitting with her, I realized that I was preparing in my mind this response to her based on what I thought she should do. Okay? Now, her religion is not the same as mine. And I was prepared to ask her to see things differently than even her religion would ask her to do. Thankfully, before I opened my mouth, I remembered this sermon I was writing about listening and allowing. And so I really started focusing on listening to her every word. Really focusing on that. And this amazing thing happened. I had an epiphany. I was not there to change her thoughts to what I thought they should. I was not there to impose upon her my beliefs and what I thought was the only right way to handle this situation. That was not my purpose. And as I listened, I realized that her thoughts and beliefs were perfect for her in the moment. Not mine, but hers. She was expressing her sadness to me, and I began to hold space for her. Now for me, when I hold space for someone, I envision this wonderful aura of love coming from my heart and just surrounding them. Holding space means no judgments, no conclusions, no decisions. It's just being there, holding that loving energy around someone and just allowing them to be. And so when I realized that she didn't need a word from me, all she needed was me to be there to listen, then this beautiful thing happened. We developed a much, much deeper bond. We didn't really have to say anything, we just knew it, because we were really connected heart to heart. And so, as I was sitting there, I realized, wow, you know, we are all on our own journey. What is comforting to me may not be comforting to you. What's upsetting to me may not be upsetting to you. And that is all okay. So just allowing the other person in front of you to be who they are and where they are in consciousness is giving up the need to control, that need to be right, and that need to see certain outcomes. And what happened that day was very special. You know, as I said, we became very close. And when she left with none of my beliefs. What she did was she left with her beliefs being much stronger for her in her situation. And so just holding that space for another is the most healing thing you can do for anyone. So after she left, I went back to writing this sermon on listening and allowing. And I sat there and I said, wow, you just gave me one big, huge opportunity to practice what I preach.
Right.
And, you know, I realized, you know, I wasn't the teacher or the counselor that day. She was for me. And it was just a wonderful day. I have remembered that day ever since, because it has changed the way I sit with people in counseling. And so I will forever be grateful. Now, listening and allowing. Listen and silent. Those two words, you know, they have the same letters. Yeah, not a coincidence, I don't think. Listening and allowing must be practiced because we have not been taught to do that, have we? You know, listening means to be silent and connected with every word the other person is saying. And that takes focus and intention. I know because I've practiced it for a long time. Doesn't mean I make it every time, but I do practice it. And it does not mean to sit there in silence while thinking about what your response is going to be, or waiting to interject your similar situation. It has nothing to do with you. Okay, listening is all about the other person. Allowing means to accept that person just the way they are, without trying to change them. We do not understand, nor will we ever understand what is for the highest and best for anyone. Our purpose is to just be there with them. And in most cases, I find that's all that's needed. Because most people, when they have someone who really listens, discover these things within themselves anyway. So you are just that presence that helps them do that. But it takes a sense of humility to allow. You know, I believe that each person on this planet has their own individual and unique path, and no one can truly understand what that path is. But allowing it to be is where the growth and the acceptance to bring harmony with each other starts, not division. Trying to be right is a concept of division. And it's a great pastime for our egos. Our egos love that. Now, one thing I advise you not to do, or to say anyway, is, I told you so. So even if the person agrees that you are right, guess what you have created? These feelings of resentment. Okay, and they might not show up in the moment, but trust me, they will show up later, because that resentment is there until it's released, and it will be released. So I would really strongly advise you never to say anything like that. You know, when things are not like what you would like them to be. It's almost like the world has hung up this big out of order sign on it, doesn't it? It feels like that because it means that you feel like you've lost control and that it's not right. But what is right? What is right? Every person is right according to their perceptions and their experiences of life that they have had. So every person is right for them and for them only. And when you insist on being right, guess what you've done? You've made someone else wrong. You have made someone else wrong. You are right. That is division. And we do not need any more division in this world right now. We're seeing so much of it. So we need ways to come back together. You know, when my mom was alive and living in a memory care unit, every time I would go see her, and that was every day, I might have missed a couple, every time she would say, "You never visit me." And I thought, well, yes, I do. I visit you every day. Who was right? Neither one of us. Her perception of a day was a lot different than mine. So in her mind, yes, it was a long time. In mine, it wasn't. So there was no right or wrong. Tara Brock shared a saying, "The world is divided into those that think they are right." That's the end of the saying. I love that saying. Yeah, I love that saying. So we are very tenacious about our views, and we identify with them very strongly, don't we? A little girl asked her mom how the human race appeared, and the mom answered, "Well, God made Adam and Eve, and they had children, so mankind was made." 2 days later, she asked her father the same question, and he said, "Many years ago, there were monkeys, and the human race evolved out of those monkeys." The little girl is confused, so she goes back to her mother and asks, "How is it possible that you told me the human race was created by God, and Dad said they were developed from monkeys?" And the mom answered, "Well, dear, it's really quite simple. I told you about my side of the family, and he told you about his." So, and have you ever been in the middle of an argument and realized you're wrong?
Yeah.
What happens there? Your belief just crumbled, number one. But also, do you not kind of have this feeling of being lost or maybe even unworthy? You know, it's a hard thing to realize, oh, I think I've been wrong. So changing, or clinging, I should say, clinging to this need to be right can only create division. And it can only create suffering and pain, even if you are right, because that means somebody else is wrong. And that's division, as I've said before. So you find no peace in being right. Because if there's anyone around you that is not in peace, you are not in peace either. And so that is an ego concept. The ego loves it. But in your heart, how do you feel? You know, when you go to your heart, how do you feel when there's conflict? You don't feel good, do you? I mean, you might be right? But do you feel good about that?
Right.
Really? So our world is in a huge state of division right now, and we have to find ways back to connection. In a couple of weeks, I'm giving a 3-part introduction to nonviolent communication class. And I'm doing this now because I think it's very important that we find ways to come back to the idea of connection and to heal these divisions that are rampant right now in our world. Now, NVC teaches that we have the same feelings and needs, and that when we work toward identifying them, we begin to connect with the heart, and then we find the solutions to the needs of all parties. In nonviolent communication, there is no right, there is no wrong. There are only feelings and needs, and we all have the same feelings and needs. We might have different feelings and needs in certain situations, but we all have the same feelings and needs. It also teaches that to be in connection, we have to let go of punishment and reward. Now think about that for a moment. I think punishment we can understand, but giving up reward, well, if you look at it, what are you saying? Someone is better than someone else. In punishment, somebody is wrong. Okay. My niece lived with my husband and I for a short time. She was in junior high, and one day she came home, and she said that she had pizza that day that the teacher had bought for, I think there were 5 of them, who had done well on the test. And they sat there in that classroom and ate it in front of the others.
Oh my God.
I could hardly believe what I was hearing. What did that teacher teach those children? I mean, what did she teach them? Good and bad, right and wrong, maybe even smart and dumb. Division. So we need connection more than ever. And we have to move out of our comfort boxes. We have to let go of this need to be right. You know, in the higher levels of consciousness, which we're all moving toward, whether you realize it or not, you are. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, right? But in that higher level of consciousness, which we are in truth, there is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. There are only experiences to help us grow. That's what it's like. So when we raise our consciousness to let go of the judgments, to let go of this need to change things, and begin to connect to the oneness, and allow, this is where the division is going to start to be healed, and we are going to be connected as a humanity again, and as a world. This is our way out. And this is what we have to really think about. Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I have kept that in my heart for a long time, and it works. It truly works. But you have to give it the effort. You have to be willing, and you have to have the intention to change. You have to have that willingness to let go of the fact that maybe nobody's right, nobody's wrong. You know, what a concept. And we truly have not been taught that, have we? I mean, for generation after generation. So I want to close today with these words from Peter Santos, from everything I wanted to know about spirituality but didn't know how to ask, A Spiritual Seeker's Guidebook. I thought, oh, I might have to get that. He writes, the spiritual freedom we seek cannot be found by grasping at it, retreating to, or protecting our perceived safe places. Our freedom lies in remaining open continuously to life's changes, to the divine light within us and the light in others. This is our choice, our path, and our responsibility. Very wise words. So I'd like to invite you now to join me in meditation for just a few moments. Just close your eyes and breathe a little more deeply and a little more slowly. And just take those words of Peter Santos's into your heart as we take just a few moments of silence. What do they mean to you? Can you begin to release the concepts of right and wrong and open to the concepts connection and acceptance. Can you look deeply into the eyes of your enemies with the intention to see them differently? A group called Building Bridges brought together in a camp setting Israeli and Palestinian young people. Amazing healing took place, and at the end, an Israeli girl who had become close friends to a Palestinian girl during this time said, "If I don't know you, it is easy to hate you. If I look into your eyes, I can't." So let us continuously look into the eyes of those in front of us and see their divine light, and respect them as the divine being they are, for they are you, and you are them. And let us remember our first principle: the inherent worth and dignity of every person. So let's take another deep breath. And when you're ready, bring your attention back into our beautiful space here. So good to be back with you today, and I invite you to stay for the Raising Consciousness class. I got my Judy first today, and we're going to have a sound concert, and then we're going to delve just a little deeper into this concept of changing the need to be right. So blessings to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Donna and Jeff. And what a poignant message when we're all ready to sit down at our Thanksgiving or Christmas tables, and we have relatives and friends that are just themselves, just as we are. Okay. All right, let's see here. Our next. Yes. Our next step is offerings and announcements. So today continues our 2-month collection to SOS, Sayusla Outreach Services. And as Renee spoke about it before, it is the step many times that keeps people comes out of a dangerous situation into safety. It's a wonderful place. It supports and transforms the lives of those in crisis through homelessness prevention, sexual assault, and domestic violence services. Tuvia, would you like to say a few words?
Well, I think some words were already said that are really important by someone who has had a chance to benefit from the services of Sayusla Outreach Services. Sally, are you listening? So please think about others. Give with your heart, and you will be rewarded for being able to help somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you too, yeah. Your contribution to SOS will be placed on this side of the basket, plainly said, and to our fellowship on this side of the basket. There are little slips of paper for tax things if you want, and there's envelopes if you wish to use them in the middle. I'm going to ask Fred on this side and Maya on this side, please. As we begin, repeat after me, please. Divine love through me.
Divine love through me.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
All that I give.
All that I give.
And all that I receive.
And all that I receive.
I am prosperous now.
I am prosperous now.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
As the basket is being passed, if you are unable to contribute, please pass the basket on. It's okay. For those listening to the recording, if you wish to make a contribution to our fellowship and to SOS, you can do so on the website. Click the donate button, or you may send a check to P.O. Box 2502, Florence, Oregon. So we have a couple of announcements during this time. First of all, in the next 2 weeks, we need supporters for the children that are back there, because the supporters are not going to be available, the ones that were assigned. So if there is anyone,
Do you want me to expand a little bit?
sure.
Since Ashley's in there. So what we as the group that do take care of the kids, there's really 4 of us. And typically what we decided was we were going to rely on the congregation because we need two people back there. So we need volunteers to help us when we're back there so that we can also enjoy some of the services. For some of us, we're back there just about every week and rarely get to be out here. So it'd be really nice if we could split some of that up. And it'll always, so we have a sign-up calendar that's on this side of the refrigerator right before the door. And you can just sign up there, and then we would know we've got 2 people. Otherwise, that Sunday morning, we're going to be saying, hey, who can help us?
Thank you very much, Diana. Yes, it is a blessing to have them here, and we all need to work together. Okay. Any other announcements? Well, I have one, and Brooke is going to help me.
Where's Brooke? I don't see Brooke.
Suck it to me, baby, baby. Suck it to me, baby, baby. You wanna suck it to me, baby. Suck it to me, baby. Suck it. So this is a tradition that I brought from my, former church in California. And so this was sewn by our beloved Deborah Larson. And of course it has kitties on it because everything is animal themed with her, but we're grateful. So we're doing a sock collection for the homeless. Socks are one of those things, they get wet, they have to dispose of them, or, wet socks in the shoes, and it rains a lot here. So from now until Christmas, we are going to try to fill this enormous sock.
Yeah.
Men, women, and children's socks, because homeless are in all shapes and sizes. And at the end, Brooke and I will take 2 pair each and put them in a little bag with a ribbon and a little bit of candy, and then we'll take them to wherever services we decide, okay? So I'm asking all of you, the socks, okay, no wool socks, okay? And new, no second hand, new socks. So I'd be grateful, and I know this is a big sock for a small community, but I think we can make a big dent in this anyway, or a big fill.
We can fill it.
Yes, I think so. Okay, thank you very much.
Every time you get a ready to.
Brooke was the only one I knew would stand up there and do that with me. Okay, will someone please open the Foof Cafe? I think we're ready for the children. Thank you, Stanley. Okay, I'm supposed to read. Oh, yes.
I just want to
Yes.
say quickly that I have these pieces of paper that Oregon homeowners turn your extra room into a rewarding experience. You can create a free profile at homeshareoregon.org. You can look for potential roommates, and then you can get support for getting your home ready, rent collection. They help you find a roommate, and they help you have a lease for people who are having trouble finding housing, but people who are employed. So I have 2 more of these. I'll put them in the back if you want. Oh, okay. Great. Terrific. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brooke. And I'll just read through a couple of these things. Of course, Reverend Smith already said at 11:30 she will be in the back there in the library with her Raising Consciousness class, continuing that. Zen Buddhist meditation at 2 p.m. on the 22nd. What is that, Tuesday, 2 p.m. with Fred. So happy we're doing that again. I mean, it just lends this kind of sacred energy to this room. Thank you. The hike this is Devil's Churn, and then on to spouting horn. Oh, aren't those descriptive things? Okay, so we meet there at Foof on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and carpool and caravan to those locations. Next Sunday it will not be Dr. Dean Schrock, but it will be a surprise that we don't know about yet. I'm sure it'll be wonderful. Let's see, board meeting on the 27th, directly after service to appoint a new board member. Great, okay. Thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate it. The energy in here is great. And if you will all stand, if you are able, make a circle around this room completely. Oh, wait a second. I invite, you can stand though, I invite Brooke to the chalice. Okay, I'll say the chalice thing as we're all gathering around in the circle. We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection, our concerns, our care for each other, our service to each other, to the world, and our faith continues. Until we are together again, friends, be strong, be well, be true, and be loving.
Stretch